So, Michael, tell us about Parker boilers. I know you guys have been around a long, long time. A lot of shops use Parker boilers, and they use them for a long, long time. But tell us a little bit about all that you all do, all the industries you all serve.
Yeah, I mean, Parker was started in 1919. They needed a safe package boiler for pressing hats. We're real popular in the 20s, and we made a steam boiler for pressing hats. And then we, developed representatives all over the world, and now, for the last 105 years, we've been distributing steam and hot water and thermal fluid heaters and indirect water heaters and condensing boilers and tanks and all the accessories that go with it all over the planet.
Right. Yeah.
It's still a closely knit, family-owned multi-million-dollar corporation right in the city of Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
About 70 employees, and we build and make everything right here in the United States.
There you go. You can't beat that. Now, a lot of people, you go to a lot of the industry trade shows and meet people and kind of let them know about all that you're doing. And talk a little bit about how people use your products in their facility. I know there's several different methods, but tell us about
that. Steam is still really widely used, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
So still in that textile industry and laundries and but the hospitals for sterilization, for breweries, for food manufacturing, all kinds of processes, humidification. Right. There's for that, and then hot water. You have institutional. You're heating the building, and you could be a condensing boiler or a regular efficiency boiler, and then processes. We find there's so many advantages to hot water over steam as far as the maintenance that we push hot water for processes if it can be done. If it's closed loop, like a metal finishing application. Okay. And there's 4 ways to heat a tank. You can have an electric immersion coil or element, which tend to fail, and they're expensive to maintain, and they can cause fires.
Yeah, I was going to say, when they fail, it's a catastrophe.
Yeah, and right? In most areas, the cost of electricity is a lot more than natural gas, so it also is significantly higher to operate that plant. You can do a gas immersion heater. It's a burner in a tube, and it's relatively inefficient. About half of that energy gets into the product. So for every dollar you spend, 50 cents is lost. And then you have steam, which is a good coefficient of heat transfer wherever it's in contact with the metal. It's the same temperature at that pressure. So relatively small heating coils, central heat in a boiler room and then distributed throughout the plant. Very common in metal finishing. Disadvantages are you've got to soften the water, you've got to chemically treat it, you've got to blow it down, you've got annual inspections, you've got steam traps that blow by, so you've got flash steam losses. A lot more maintenance in a steam system. So if you can elevate the temperature of a hot water boiler, which is a niche for Parker, everybody makes a hot water boiler that goes to 200 and 220 degrees, but we make a unit that can go to 600 degrees. So in the metal finishing industry, we tend to size the coils for hot water for 265, and it kind of, then the coils are about the same size as they were if they were steam coils. And now you got a closed loop. Once you fill the water into that system, it's the same water that you're going to be heating those tanks with unless you have a leak. And so, theoretically, you're not doing any chemistry or annual inspections or anything because it doesn't fall under the same requirements as a steam boiler.
Right. You guys do a lot about metal finishing. I know. I can't tell how many facilities I've been in, and there's a Parker boiler sitting there.
Yeah, and
it's been sitting there for a long time. But yeah, you guys have a lot of experience in that.
We're pretty good at sizing it. You give us the tank dimensions and the fluid depth and what temps you want in the tank, and we can, size the BTUs and come up with a whole system and drawings. I mean, I don't know, you probably can't see it on my ceiling up there, but I've got a metal finishing job I'm editing with magnets on a ceiling for Alabama. So
really? Wow. Okay.
So I do all the piping. I show them, what size pipes to run, and we've already selected all the boiler equipment's already there. So
right.
yeah, it's a
So
good niche for us.
I was going to say sizing is so important, isn't it? You don't want to oversize, you don't want to undersize, and like I said, from you guys' experience, you kind of know exactly what the size of these could be, so it's operating very efficiently for them.
Yeah, I mean, if I can get somebody to spend a little bit more money, two is always better than one. So, if you've got a 5 million BTU load, 2.5 million BTU boilers, because your biggest load is your heat up in a metal
Hmm.
finishing operation. So once the
Right,
the tanks are heated, you're really running on maybe a third of one of those boilers.
right,
And so now your standby losses, you've got a backup boiler essentially. So if you
right,
want to do service, you can work on that one boiler, and then your efficiencies of a unit that's running in low fire is better than a unit going all out, or it's better than a unit that's way oversized and cycling all the time.
right, right. And, Sid, you guys are located in Southern California. You've been to your facility, very nice facility there. But you guys can really do installs anywhere, correct? You can pretty much, and like you said, you just said about Alabama. You guys have your boilers are pretty much everywhere in the U.S., aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, we just shipped 3 oil-fired boilers, 300 degrees for an oil or a gold mine in Surreyham. So they heat up sodium cyanide and they leach out the metal. And yeah, so and another one just went to Saudi Arabia. So yeah, we've got
Wow,
hot water systems all over the
all over
place.
the place. One thing I note about, like I said, you all, and I know you used to always send me some things where people were, these Parker boilers were going for 20, 30 longer years, right? I mean, they're pretty
Lot,
solidly built.
that's true. Not the lowest initial cost, but I always sell the lowest cost of ownership because
Right.
longevity. I've got customers with boilers that are 50 years old.
Right. And that's the key is you don't want downtime. You don't want mechanical issues with these things. They last, they run, they're dependable. And that's really what's, I think, made you all's reputation pretty good with that is that they are dependable. They do work very well.
Yeah, and the fuel savings. I mean, one of the
Hmm.
first metal finishing SureFin shows we went to, we showed a customer how they could save 100,000 a year in utility costs.
Mm.
And they had already ordered all the electric elements, and they came back and studied it with the OEM building the tank line, and went to their utility company and confirmed all the numbers. And it was, I mean, $100,000 a year is a lot of money
It's a huge amount.
for
Right.
operations.
Right.
It
Right.
just goes
Yeah.
to the bottom line. So,
Right. Right. Yeah. People can go to parkerboilers.com website, and you've got a lot of technical information on there. Like I said, reach out to you there. And like I said, I know you go to a lot of the shows and talk to the finishers. And so this is not, even though you all work in a lot of different industries, you really do know the finishing industry pretty well from all the installations that you guys have had, correct?
yeah, it's one of our favorites to participate in. So,
Right.
like I'm
Okay.
going
Well,
to Omaha
yeah.
next month for the galvanizing
Oh,
convention, the tech
yes.
forum. So
There you
again, we're
go.
just heating tanks up to clean the metal before it gets dipped in zinc.
Right. All right. Well, listen, Michael, I appreciate it. Thank you very much for joining us. And people can go to parkerboilers.com and check out everything that you
All
all
right.
have there. Thank you,
All
sir.
right. Well, it's 100 degrees here. I think I'm going to go ahead in the pool.
There you go.